to be a leading man, they say you have to be a guy that every guy wants to listen to. You have to be a guy that every woman want to look at, and you have to be somebody that everyone wants to learn from. And so we look at a lot of the leading men and leading women that we watch, that's kind of what they possess. They possess those qualities that, draws the audience from that perspective.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. So for all those crazy people who never heard of your boy, who ain't tapped in, they don't know what's going on, Howard University is in the building. Give us your name and tell us what you do in a couple of seconds.
What's up? I'm Mark McKinnon, and I'm an actor and an acting coach.
All right. So let's go back to where it all started for you in PG County, Maryland. What's up? How did you fall in love with acting?
Well, for me, it all started in high school. I was supporting a friend who was auditioning for the school plays. And at that time, it wasn't many of us like that was, doing the plays or anything like that. Plus, I was a big athlete on campus and all that good stuff. So anyway, I'm there at the audition, supporting my friend. The drama teacher looks at me. She's like, Mark, you should audition for our show. I was like, nah, I don't do that. Nah. She's like, nah, trust me, we can use you. I said, I'm probably going to suck anyways. I'll go ahead and do it. So I go audition, ended up booking the lead role. And what made me really fall in love with it, so of course, a lot of my teammates from the basketball team, football team, they all came out, laughed at me, all that good stuff. What made me fall in love with it was I saw the social change, because so many of my teammates and stuff that next year decided to audition for the plays. Also, more Black people, more of us started coming out to being a part of the plays. When I saw that social change, I said, wow, like me doing this thing called acting, and, I enjoyed it. I had fun with it, and I saw how much it influenced people. I said, I want to go further with this. So that's what made me say, you know what, I'm going to go study it. And so I turned down several football scholarships to go to Howard University to major in theater arts, because that was the one school that literally had the style of acting program that I was looking for. Because a lot of the D1 schools that was offering me scholarships, a lot of them had like classical theater, and I respect classical theater, but I knew that wasn't the route I wanted to go. And so when I saw what Howard had to offer, they never gave me a football scholarship. So I walked onto the team. That didn't last long at all, but it just ended up being something where I found myself, really pursuing acting that young. And ever since then, I never looked back.
Nice. So let me ask you this, because sometimes in our families, we don't know, what happened before us and things of that nature. Who was the person in your family that also maybe they could act as well? Maybe they did it in their younger days. Your mom's, your pops, grandmother, grandfather, whatever.
No one. Like my family was a family of athletes. Like everyone played ball. You know what I'm saying? We all came from sports. So I was the first one in my family to really tap into it. Now I got like an uncle who's involved in it now. I got my cousins who's, getting in classes now. But like I was the first one in my family to be on we call it the A&E side, the arts and entertainment side.
Okay. I like that. So let me ask you this, being as though you are acting, you actually landed the lead role. In your opinion, what out there like signifies somebody as a lead actor? Because sometimes you have people who could be a co-star, maybe they could be a throw-in or something like that, extra, whatever. But the lead role, in my opinion, is very hard. What makes a lead actor to you?
Well, one, it depends on what the project is, because depending on what the role is about, what storyline to go on, what comes into play is, can the audience believe that this person is that type of person? Whether it's a cop, a gangster, you know what I'm saying, somebody from the street, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like we have to believe that, so that's the first step. But to be a leading man, they say you have to be a guy that every guy wants to listen to. You have to be a guy that every woman want to look at. And you have to be somebody that everyone wants to learn from. And so we look at a lot of the leading men and leading women that we watch, that's kind of what they possess. They possess those qualities that, draws the audience from that perspective.
Well said. All right. Yo, if you are just tuned in, you are tuned in to the Pimp Game Podcast, where we highlight positive, intelligent, motivated people each and every single week. And today we got a special one. That's right. The one and only Mr. Mark McKinnon. Actor out of PG County, Howard University, right here on the Pimp Game Podcast. So let me ask you this. You also have an acting school Mark McKinnon Studios or what have you. What are some of the issues that maybe some of the younger actors come in with? What is one of the struggles or maybe the hurdles that they come into when they come into your school?
No, absolutely. So McKinnon Acting Studio is an on-camera acting studio, and a lot of people don't know that like DC is the third biggest theater town behind New York and Chicago. So most of the schools around here focus on what? Theater arts. They focus
Mhm.
on stage work. Nothing wrong with that. Great path to go. But what about those actors who wanted to get into film acting, when they get into TV acting? And it wasn't many places at all that was doing that. So that's why I started McKinnon Acting Studio, and that's one thing that most of my students come in with was like strong theater background, but how do I make my acting work for the camera? And then what about the business side? A lot of people, you could be the most talented person, but if you don't understand the business side, the marketing, how to get an agent, how to find auditions, you're just a huge talent with no direction to go. So that's what we come in at. We say, hey, let's teach you how to act on camera. So we have a whole camera set up here. We even do showcases. We have a 2-camera setup. We bring agents, managers, casting directors to look at your work, to see what you're doing. But we also teach you the business side. So when people do meet you, when you do get into the right places, the right room, you're looking like you know what you're doing. And so we've been doing this since 2012. Thousands of actors have come through our studio. And, you know, you can see in the background behind me now, you see posters. This is just a fourth of like all the network shows that our students have been on. Most of them are right here in the Prince George's County area, right here in the DMV area. And they're working on major shows all over New York, all over LA, Atlanta, you name it. You name that show, I can guarantee you someone from our studio has been on that show.
Nice. So let me ask this: is Mark McKinnon Acting School maybe partnering with a Juilliard or something like that, acting school out of New York? And can that happen in the near future, or is that happening already right now?
It can happen in the future. It's already happening in the Washington, D.C. area. So a lot of the schools, the theater schools in D.C., whenever they get a student of theirs that's saying, I want to get into film and TV acting, they send their students to us. So a great
Mm,
percentage of our students are coming from theater schools coming to our place. Matter of fact, whenever there's like a big TV show or movie that's in town filming, the actors come here. Even that show Hamilton, I don't know if you're familiar with Hamilton on Broadway. When it was in
yeah.
DC back in 2018, guess where those actors came to do their self-tape for their next audition? They came to McKinnon Acting Studio. So people know that we're literally one of the best places to not only build your acting career, but to do your audition tape service. Because that's one thing you got to know how to do when you're an actor is have a self-tape setup, but know how to audition on camera for sure.
Okay. So let me ask this because I've always wanted to know this. I know some actors pay their dues. You know, you gotta, I don't know, sleep on the couch, sleep on the floor, whatever, whoever let you sleep there with no rent free. What is the timeline in terms of like making it as an actor? Is it 5 years, 10 years, 20, whenever you get your big break? What's the correct timeline for an actor or an actress?
That's a great question. I would say before the pandemic, the rule of thumb was like 10 years. Like, 10 years turnaround time for an actor to go from 0 to 100 and you know who they are. But something happened during the pandemic, especially when streaming television picked up, where now you're hearing more stories and those leading actors are doing the interviews. They just started a year ago. They just got their first lead role, first big break, and they just started acting. Look how many rappers now and singers now are in movies now. So it's less about the longevity and more about at the end of the day, can we believe your word? And do you look good? Like TV is what I say is all about edge and sex appeal. And that's something I've been teaching my students when we're branding ourselves. There has to be some form of edge to you, and there has to be some sort of sex appeal to you. For example, when you see like a Deadline report come out or a Hollywood Reporter, article come out, and they're showing that actor's headshot, you're not just seeing some random just headshot of somebody just like, oh, this is my type. No, you're seeing some edge, you're seeing some sex appeal because that's what the industry want. And so you've seen a lot more actors who didn't go to a conservatory or didn't go a 4-year program, and they took a few acting classes, maybe they did a workshop or two. Some of them just got in because of a relationship, and they're getting these guest star series, regular roles, and starring roles because of those things.
Well said, well said, well said. One of the things I've always been fascinated about is someone just learning their lines. Like all day, they're just working and working on their lines. How long does it take to learn a line? I mean, how long does it take to learn a line?
So I have an exercise here where I teach actors how to learn a whole scene in less than 10 minutes. Right? Because it's all psychological. I believe that the
Wow.
more you know what you are saying, the easier it is to memorize your lines. And so what happens is when actors get a script before they take training or anything like that, They get a script and they go right into trying to memorize the line word for word. That's like me giving you a script saying, here's how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Say, memorize this right now. If you've never made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich before, never even heard of it, and I gave you that script, you're going to struggle trying to say those lines about making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But if you experienced it before, if you kind of understand the flow of it, you may not know all the lines word for word, but you're going to be able to kind of like get through the lines to tell the story, because that's our jobs as actors, is to be storytellers. And so you have to understand the story. You have to understand the theme of what the writer's trying to get out of it. So that's what I teach in this exercise that I do in less than 10 minutes. I teach you how to psychologically understand what you're saying and understand that we're listening and responding. You'll know how to say the next line when you really listen to what the person is saying to you.
Okay. Well said, well said, well said. So a couple of big actors you've worked with, Tasha Smith as well as Jeremy Renner. What is the difference between the two? Jeremy Renner, he's good in his own right. So is Tasha Smith. She's very dramatical. I like her. What's up? In your opinion, what's the difference between working with the two?
That's a good question. The thing is, like, I feel like Tasha Smith, for her, she right away made me feel like I was like a little brother. Like our first day on, matter of fact, before we even filmed on set, we did a call. We talked for about an hour on the phone and just really got a chance to know each other. So I say, like, from that standpoint, Tasha Smith right away was like, I want to get to know who I'm working with. Especially, we had a couple of intimate scenes, intimate moments in that episode. So like we had to get to know each other beforehand. And so that's one thing about her. With Jeremy Renner, very down to earth guy, very cool guy. But he's like, let's come to work. You got your lines, let's do it. Let's run this real quick. Let's keep it moving. And so like from that perspective, Tasha Smith was more like, I want to get to know you. Jeremy Renner was like, I respect you, but like let's get this work done. And he even calls me brother when I'm on set. He calls me brother and all that good stuff. But like Tasha Smith is gonna make you feel like you from around the way. She's gonna make you feel like y'all knew each other. I felt like I knew Tasha Smith for like 20 years when I got on set, even though that was my first time meeting her in person.
So let me ask this: Does Mark McKinnon get starstruck sometimes? Like maybe, I don't know, and maybe it's like it's a disbelief. You're in awe of, you're actually working with a Tasha Smith, Jeremy Renner. You're working with these people you might have seen growing up when you were coming up in the ranks in terms of trying to be an actor. Do you ever get starstruck?
I've never been starstruck, but there's something about me that like I go into like observant mode. Like when I run into a celebrity and, before I get up close to them or anything, I'm watching them from afar. I'm just studying their mannerism, how they're interacting with folks on set, how they're interacting with the PAs or their assistant. Like that's like my method of being starstruck, is I'm watching how are you carrying yourself, but I've never been to a place like, oh my God, I can't believe, like I've never been that type of person, even when I go to concerts or anything like that. I always just get very observant. I'm studying like how you move pretty much.
So is it easy for a young actor or actress to get starstruck? Because even though you want to do it, maybe you might idolize some of these people or just love their work. Is it easy for someone to get starstruck in this business?
Oh, absolutely. It's very easy, especially when you work so hard to get to that moment, and then that moment is like here and it's happening now. It can come in a different forms, whether it's nervousness, you might get super nervous, or you overthink what you got to get done because you're like, oh my God, I'm standing next to Denzel right now. Like, oh my God, like this has to be like perfection, but the more you get like that, what I try to teach my students is you have to learn the art of breathing, number one, but the art of acting like you don't care. Because we're going to see, one thing about camera acting is whatever you think, we see it. Again, whatever you think, you see it. So if you on set next to this actor and you starstruck, we're going to see it all in your face, all in your eyes, and you're trying to hide it, but you can't, right? But when you get to this place where, you know what, I don't care, it's just another person, another day, even though inside you're jumping for joy, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm working with Jeremy Renner right now. Oh my God, I'm sitting next to Tasha Smith right now. Like, you jump for joy, but you learn the art of breathing and being like, you know what, it's just another day. And then so you see the work on camera, you're like, you can't tell that you're nervous. You can't tell that, you're starstruck or anything.
Okay. So can Mark McKinnon cry on the spot? Like just on the spot? Someone just tell you to cry on set, you just start crying? Can you cry on the spot?
I won't say on the spot, but I can cry. So I did this movie that was directed by Cheryl Lee Ralph back in 2020. It was called The Waiting Room. It was about cancer, and my fiance in the movie, she's battling cancer. She has stage 4 breast cancer. And at the very end of the movie, like I'm crying. And the reason why I say I can do it like on the spot, but as long as I know ahead of time, because when we did that first take, bawling my eyes out. bawling my eyes out. And then when I finished, like, I did it, let's go. I cried, I did the moment. And then it's like, all right, let's do it again. I was like, do it again? What? So we got to do another take. Yeah, I did it again. This was like, all right, great, let's get closer. Closer. I got crying. By the time it got close up on my face, them tears was all dried up. But the whole point was that opening take and the second take, like it was there. It just came. So it's all about what you're tapping into. I call it substitution. Like what has happened in my own life that has caused me to have to like really like get to a place emotionally. And the end result may be tears, but that's not the goal. The goal is to tap into that emotional recall, that emotional moment. So for example, if I'm dealing with a scene where I'm going through a breakup, right? Even though the script may say this person is crying when they're going through the breakup, I'm not aiming for tears. I'm aiming for how I felt when I went through a breakup. What was that heartbreak like? What was that moment like for myself? So I'm allowing myself to tap into that memory. And how did I feel in that moment? What was the weather like that day? What was I wearing that day? All those things factor into just the psyche. So when it is time to get there, if tears come, great. If they don't, as long as you're emotionally connected, the job is done.
Well said, well said. As long as you're emotionally connected, the job is done. I like that. So another actor who kind of, you mentioned cancer, things of that nature, a couple of years back, Chadwick Boseman, the star of Black Panther, 42. He even did the James Brown movie and stuff like that. Where were you when you got the news that Chadwick Boseman had passed away?
Oh man, where was where was I? I remember when I first heard the news. I think I was in New York at the time. I can't remember if I was there for an audition. I was there for something, but I was in New York at the time, and I got the news. Like it was just shocking because one, I didn't even know he was even dealing with any type of health issues. He kept that under wraps for a very long time, and I guess when he got to his last few days, his family kept it super private. So when the news came out that he died, but how he died and why he died, we was like so confused. Like we saw him losing weight and things like that throughout his movies and things, but like I did not realize that he was battling cancer. So it was just very shocking to hear that he passed away, but yet being so young, he left such a great like legacy. You've said like, he wasn't like some old man that had been doing it for 50 years, like, very young at age and left such a huge mark on the entertainment industry, left a huge impact on just Black men and what roles we can go for and the opportunities that's out there for us. So I'm very grateful for, what Chad has given. He's a HU alum as well. So shout out to the HU family. But yeah, Chadwick Boseman, I love his work. Even watching his interviews, they inspired me and got me thinking some amazing things about how to go about this business.
Yo, this your boy Kenny D. Hey, I didn't mean to interrupt your show, but I just want to take a quick minute, just to let you guys know, if you want to see more dope interviews like this one, make sure you go on YouTube and check out Pimp Game Podcast. All right? And don't forget about our website, pimpgamepodcast.com, to see all your latest Pimp Game episodes. All right? We got you. Man, I'm done talking. Back to the show. Well said, well said, well said. All right. Yo, if you are just tuned in, you are tuned in to the Pimp Game Podcast, where we highlight positive, intelligent, motivated people each and every single week. And today we got a special one. That's right, Mr. Mark McKinnon, actor extraordinaire, right here on the Pimp Game Podcast. So let me ask you this. We talked about Chadwick Boseman, Howard University alum. Another Howard University alum is Felicia Rashad, or what have you. She is there as well, yourself included. What's up? What is Howard University doing over there that is just producing great actors, actresses? What is Howard University doing over there that they're producing such great talent?
Well, one thing, a lot of the content, the shows that we're doing, the plays that we're producing is by us. It's for us. And, not only are you learning the classical side of acting, but you're learning the contemporary side as well. And so you're being coached and your professors are people who've been in the industry for years and they're able to give you that game. You know what I'm saying? And so like, even when it came to me being in New York or even LA, whenever the cast directors will see Howard University on my resume, they go, oh my God, you went to Howard. Oh, like we love actors from there. There's something about the level of preparation, the level of just like showmanship, the level of just seriousness we put into the craft. We're not just going there just to look good. We're going there to really put in that work. And I think people around the world realize that and they respect that, and one thing that Howard does is you have to audition to even be in the program. You can't just sign up for theater arts as your major and be like, oh, okay, like, I'm in the program. You have to audition and get into it. So they scaling you out to make sure you know what you're doing already coming into the program. But just the details and hours, you sometimes putting 20 to 30 hours per week into training and classes and acting, and then you try to squeeze in the math and science, everything else around it. But like most of your hours is centered around that acting portion. And so I think that's something that played into it. And you got people like Amber Amon, who's killing it on Broadway. Like year after year, she's like leading women in so many plays. Michael James Shaw, he was in my class as well, but he's been on like Civil War, the Marvel Civil War. He's been the leading man in series regular and so many things. It's so many other people I can name, but like a lot of people from my class alone are out here doing some amazing things. You got Lauren Banks, who's doing some amazing things. She actually was up for an award for Best Supporting Actress for what she did on Paramount Plus. So it's just great to see the people who use in class with, the people who's walking on campus with, to see them doing some amazing work. Also, shout out to my sister, Deborah Ayurende. She wasn't a theater arts major, but we was really good friends on campus. We even did like a short film together years ago while we was on campus. But she was a lead in the show Them, on Amazon Prime, and like seeing what she's doing and like her career has just took over like the industry. It's just amazing to see that Howard University is just producing some amazing artists, some amazing talent who are very poised and very educated as well.
I like that. I like that. So, Mayor of Kingstown. I like that. What's up? How did you get that role doing your thing? What's up? How did you get that role on Mayor of Kingstown?
Oh man, yeah, I have a really great manager. He's my agent now, so my manager of 8 years. He got me to audition. I had to do a self-tape. We did it right here in the studio, right behind me, and because that came during the pandemic, so a lot of auditions you're doing through self-tape or you're doing through Zoom. So I did the tape, and at that time, I wasn't getting those type of roles. A lot of times, I'm getting a lot of cop, a lot of military type of stuff. Even like on Blue Bloods and like the Gotham and all these shows, I'm always playing like the cop or whatnot. But so this role came in, I was like, I'm probably not gonna get the role. They're not casting me as a street guy, whatever. Like, and I sent the tape in. 2 weeks later, it was like, hey, you got the role. I'm like, what? It was supposed to be for one episode. So I go to film. I'm shooting, playing a Crip, they put tats all over me, throw some chains all over me to change it completely how I look. Had a great time filming that scene with Jeremy Renner. And so once I finished filming that day, getting ready to, take all this stuff off, and production ran into the room like, wait, did he finish changing yet? And I was like, I'm almost there. There's like, director wants you to be in another episode. They're about to film it right now. They're filming the second episode that same day. It was like, well, I was like, the tattoos are already off. They was like, well, put a jacket on them. So they threw a jacket on me, put me in the next episode. I was in the season finale of season 2 as well. And I was like, oh, shoot, like this was dope. So I'm thinking I did my job. That was cool. That was great. We go through the actors strike in 2013, no filming or anything for 6-7 months. All of a sudden, as soon as the strike ended, I get an email from production. They email my agent like, hey, they want to bring you back, but as a different character. But the character is still part of the Crips, whatever. So they're going to merge your role with this new role and bring you back as a recurring guest star. And that's how I got on to 5 episodes in season 3. I came back as a slightly different look. However, it was like, a blessing that they liked my work so much that they wanted to bring me back. And it was one of the best times ever. I was in Pittsburgh for like 4 months filming, Mayor Kingstown, so to be on set every day like that, working on that high level show like that was just truly a blessing. One of the best experiences I've had on set, and just like the family that was built on that set was just amazing as well.
Well said. So, can we see Mr. Mark McKinnon being maybe like a drug kingpin? Can we see that in maybe a future film? Put in your PSA right now to be a drug kingpin.
I could do it. And that's the thing. That was the crazy part, because so many casting directors in New York who cast all these major network TV shows, when they saw that clip of me on there, on Mayor Kingstown playing a Crip, like they were shocked. They were like, Mark, I didn't see it. I did not see it. And then they saw that and it was like, you can definitely do it. So a lot more of my auditions, a lot more of the things I'm getting called in for is now catered to that side as well, where you can see me going out for more, guys in the street, somebody playing, somebody who's on the criminal side, not just a cop, not just a good loving husband guy. Like I had a little edge. Even what I did with like Tasha Smith, for example, I was, I was a little ratchet in there. You know what I'm saying? Like a little ratchet. Have, you know what I'm saying? This guy was, up to no good. You know what I'm saying? But it was just an honor to be able to play and show that versatility that I can play this good guy and cop, but I can also play over here as well. So I'm just honored that I got to show that range. And when people see my reel and they're able to see like the range of what I do, they get like blown away by how I'm able to transform like that.
All right, cool. All right, I like that. I like that. So we're getting ready to play a game called Who You Got? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna give you 2 actresses and 2 actors, and you tell me who you got between the 2.
Okay.
All right. So the first one, we're gonna go Taraji P. Henson and Viola Davis. Who you got?
Ooh, that's a good one. See, I would originally say Taraji because she's a Howard alum and you guys support our HU fam. But Viola Davis, it's just she is a legend. She is a beast. So if we talking about like acting skill and talent, and I gotta go Viola Davis. Viola Davis.
All right. So the next one, Mark Wahlberg and Michael B. Jordan. Who you got?
That's another good one. I might go with Michael B on this one. I want to go with Michael B on this one. One, I love the route that his career has gone. I love the barriers that he has broken. Even when he was in this movie called Chronicles, that was written for 3 white boys to be leads in. He still got the audition, ended up booking a role. Look what he did in, Fantastic Four. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the roles, he broke that barrier. Was like, okay, I'm not just doing these roles over here. I'm breaking the line, and I'm going to be a leading man in these major international films. And like, he's done it, so I'm going with Michael B. Jordan.
All right. Another one. I don't know if we gonna get this one. Angela Bassett and Halle Berry. Who you got?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett is there's a level of just commitment and a level of just like, they use the word like fierceness that she has that like it's just unmatched. Like it's just there. The moment she walks into the room, you're like, you just want to just watch her work. Halle Berry, she's amazing. She looks good. She is beautiful and she can act, but you're going to get her beauty first before anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And so that's why I'm like, I'm going to go with Angela Bassett on that one.
All right. I'm going to give you the last one. I don't know if we're going to get this one. This one might be tough. Idris Elba and Terrence Howard. Who you got?
Idris Elba, like, I actually liked his work that's when I first noticed who he was, because I didn't get to see The Wire at the time. And so I didn't know what he was doing in The Wire. But when I saw him in Daddy's Little Girl, the Tyler Perry movie, I was like, yo, who is this actor? This guy's a beast. And then I did my research. I found out he was in The Wire. And every time he came out with something, it was like, yo, his work is just phenomenal. Terrence Howard, cool guy. But like, I got to go with Idris Elba. I got to.
Terrence Howard, you listen to the Pimp Game Podcast. Mark McKinnon is saying you are a cool guy, but he's picking Idris Elba over you.
Absolutely.
All right. So is there any actor you would love to work with, maybe actress that you haven't worked with up to this point in your career?
One will be Michael B. Jordan, believe it or not. I would love to work with Michael B. Jordan, like to play along the screen with him would be dope. Actress wise, I think I would actually like to work alongside Viola Davis. I want to see what it's like to have to go toe to toe with her in a dramatic scene or emotional scene, and what that's like to like not just respect what you do, to actually be along with you and share the screen with you. And being that I've been blessed to share the screen with so many amazing actors and seeing what it feels like to be in those moments, what would it be like to act next to somebody who the industry respects? You know what I'm saying? Who industry is like, here's an Oscar, here's an Emmy, like all these things. See what it's like to do that. I haven't had that chance yet, so I would absolutely love to work beside Viola Davis.
Okay. Well said. Shout out to Viola Davis. So let me ask this, because it's been bugging me, right? I've heard Taraji P. Henson complain about the pay. Terrence Howard, same thing. He's complained about pay in terms of being an actor, actress, all of that. In your opinion, is it that they don't pay actors or actresses, or is it just that they don't pay them accordingly to the lifestyle that they're living. What's your thoughts on that?
It's definitely something there, and that's one of the reasons why we went on strike as well, is just the fairness of the pay. But I think that argument more so runs for actors who are on that A-list level. Like there's a
Mm,
different level of negotiation that goes with those actors. So if you think about the people who, for the most part, are talking about it, it's those people who are up for these major leading roles, and there's millions of dollars behind it, and it's an unfair thing because, for example, the amount of money that like a Terrence Howard would get offered, if you give that to a white man or give somebody of a different diverse background, they may give
mm,
them 2 or 3 times more than that. But when you deal with somebody who's on the up and coming, like, a lot of times you're getting the minimums, or your agent or manager is able to negotiate some really good rates for you. That's, you're able to take care of yourself. But the biggest issue all around, which is why we went on strike as well, is we don't make enough as actors, more so because of the streaming aspect. When a lot of these contracts were put in
mm,
place, for TV and for films, like they were meant for the networks. And so when streaming became a big deal, there was nothing in place to say, well, we got to pay y'all for all these streams. So the residual checks, everything started getting lower and lower for actors, because what happens after a TV show now airs on TV, the very next time you see it is on a streaming network. Prior
mm.
to then, it would keep airing on TV and over, and that's what the contract was for. So the checks was big when they re-aired on TV, But when we started to see how the streaming was picking up, there was a year or two where like we was almost getting nothing, even though it was re-airing on streaming. There was no contracts in place from our union to say, hey, this is how much these actors need to get. And so that's why we fought for it and we changed it, because these streaming networks are making billions of dollars, and yet the actors who are doing the work is not getting much at all. And so we went on
Mm.
strike. We stopped working for 6, 7 months. Like it caused the studios to say, we have to give them more money. So now we got back to a fair price. There's still a lot more ways we have to go to get it, but it's
Okay.
it's, it's a bigger thing. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. So today's quick topic of the show is Neo. Neo has 4 ladies on his side backstage at the concert and all of this stuff. What is your thoughts on that? Me, I personally I couldn't do 4 ladies. I don't know. What is your
It's a lot.
thoughts? Do you think maybe that's the wave that maybe he started something now? Maybe you might see guys with 2 girlfriends or something like that. What's your thoughts on
I
Neo and his 4 ladies?
I don't think he started it. I think he's the first to be open about it and be like, I don't care what y'all think. I'm more
Mm,
so concerned with the ladies. Like, what is your family? How's your family supporting, what I'm saying, your brothers and your moms and your uncles? Like, how do you bring them home for the holidays when he got all these other, what I'm saying, ladies going on with it? Like, but I want to say more so I respect him more so because he's being open about it. He's not hiding it. He's not sugarcoating anything. He's like, look, this is what I do. And not everything is for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Now I believe
mm,
in monogamy. You be with your one woman. Like I'm married, happily married. I'm like, I got my one woman and I'm gonna grow with her. I'm gonna grow old with her, and I love her to death. But yeah, I the whole like openly with 4 people. It's one thing you playing around with 4 different people, but he like, nah, I got all 4 of y'all, y'all all my girlfriends, y'all all know each other. We eat together, live together. Some of that's kind of like, yeah, that's actually pretty, as a man. I say, you do your thing,
right.
but
Mm,
when you look at the morality of it, that is tough, because at the end of the day, kids are watching you. You know what I'm saying? People are watching you, and like, what are you teaching them? And you can say that's none of their business, but it is, because it's public. You're out there, you're a public figure. So anything that you do, you can be teaching somebody your ways, even when you don't realize it.
mm. Okay. Okay. Well said. Well said. Well said. So, for that young boy out there who wants to be the next Mark McKinnon, that young girl out there who wants to be the next Mark McKinnon, what would you tell them that they need to do if they want to get into the acting industry?
If you want to get into the acting industry, it's 2 things. Number one, you have to know who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, this industry would try to force you into being something that you're not. And so you got
Mm,
to really tap into knowing who are you, like how are you around your family, how are you around your friends. That's what you need to show the industry. Don't try to show them something that you're not. Okay. Secondly, you got to get into acting classes. Like, yes, this is an industry where you don't have to go through 10 years of training anymore. That's very helpful. But you want to make sure you're in class so you can hone your craft. You can make sure you're honing your skills on acting on camera. So when you get these opportunities, you're shortening the amount of time it takes for you to book a role because you're trained. Just like with any sport, anything you do in entertainment, you got to practice, you got to rehearse, you got to grow on your craft. So those are the 2 things I would tell any young actor or anybody who wants to get into the industry. Get into classes, but secondly, making sure that you know who you are and showcase the world with who you are.
Well said, well said, well said. So, any future projects coming up for Mr. Mark McKinnon that we should be privy to or aware of or anything like that? Any sneak peek, any future projects for Mark McKinnon?
Absolutely. So pretty soon I'll be filming an extended version of a short film called "The Worst Best Man Ever." Right now, the short film version of it, we've been going all around film festivals all over the nation. It's been winning awards all over the nation as the best comedy, best rom com, best actor awards. So it's a really good story about a guy who is getting ready to marry somebody who he's not sure he wants to marry, and then me as the best man comes into his life to try to test his love for his person and introduces him to somebody from his past or reintroduce, and so he has to make a decision: does he go left or he go right? So a good laugh, good love story, but also a really good message in just life, and not just going with the flow of things just because it's just an easy way to go. Like, you really want to make sure you're going after like where your heart really is, and so it's a good story, good message. It's about to finish the film festival route, so hopefully, more public viewings will happen. But until then, you could be on the lookout for the future film, which is scheduled to film in 2026.
Nice. Okay. Well said. Well said. Well said. So, if any director out there wants to get in contact with Mark McKinnon, or I don't know, an actor is looking to get some advice for you, or they might even want to do your school, how do they get in contact with Mark McKinnon?
Absolutely. You can hit our website, McKinnonActingStudio.com. That is our site. We're also on Instagram at McKinnon Acting Studio. You can send us a message directly from there, and then somebody from our team will email you directly from there. But yeah, if you want to learn about what we're doing, our site, Instagram is the best place to go. And yeah, you're always welcome to get a free session. We also free one-on-one sessions just to get a feel for me as a coach, as well as for our culture here at the studio. And we would love to help you on your acting career. We would love to help consult your career.
All right. So, for all those people who've been rocking with you in PG County, Maryland, Howard University, your first role in high school when you got the lead role, any final thoughts or shout outs for your fans before we sign off on Pimp Game?
Man, y'all got to make sure y'all keep following Kenny D, because what he's doing is some amazing things here on the airwaves. And like, this guy is funny, this guy is wise, and like, he's somebody you want to continue to follow, continue to listen to as well.
All right. So it was a good show. Tell everybody who you chilling with.
I'm chilling with Kenny D on the Pimp Game Podcast.
All right. And that concludes our show for this evening. But before I let you go, I'd like to thank all my viewers out there for tuning in, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That's right. You're going to subscribe, and make sure you turn those notifications on, so when we upload videos, you are the first to get it. And last but not least, we'd like to thank the one and only Howard University's finest, Mr. Mark McKinnon, actor extraordinaire, right here, for blessing us with his presence on the show. All right? See you next time on Pimp Game. You don't want to miss it. Holla.